They say talk is cheap. Come and have a seat. Join the conversation. This is what you need. Real convo, authentic and honest. Communicating in marriage, yeah, we gotta talk about it. Yeah, never hold back. Lay it all out on the table. Building up stronger relations. It's time for a transformation. This is real talk, something you can feel talk. Come and grab a seat. Yeah, it's time to have some Bell Talk. Woo! Bell Talk.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Bell Talk. My name is Stephen.
My name is Nadia Bell.
This particular episode, we're going to be talking about accountability, having accountability partners, both individually in your marriage. Why? It's because it does so much good to have a second opinion, but more so to make sure that you're on track of doing what you say you're supposed to do and be that person you're supposed to be. So, my wife is going to tackle this particular conversation first, so we're going to let her go ahead and spearhead this.
So yes, pretty much like Stephen said, we first got married. The ministry we were going to, they offered us to go to their marriage counsel class. So we went to the marriage counsel class, and there we agreed on accountability partners. So before I go any further, I just want to say that it's very important in your marriage that you have accountability partners. Someone that the wife picked for the husband, someone that you trust that can give them good advice, good guidance. If you guys were to get into a situation or just to get some good advice from someone that you trust that will give him good sound, advice. And vice versa, the same thing for the husband. If you guys, ever got into something or she needed some advice, a female that you trust that she can talk to that will give her some good advice. So during that time, we had, they were actually a marriage couple. They were our counselors for the time that we were in, I believe we were in Virginia. For the time that we were in Virginia until we ended up moving away. But during that time, excellent marriage counselors. One thing that I loved about the wife is that every time, the few times I did call her, Steve and I had situations going on, I noticed that she never focused the conversation on Stephen. Most of the time, she always talked about me and what I did in the situation. She'll give me advice on she'll give me a follow-up. She'll give me advice for what to do at that particular moment and how I could have handled it better. Like, the whole conversation was always focused around me. Now, in a time like that, you are expecting them most likely to say what he did wrong, because at the time you're feeling like he's wrong and he's feeling like you're wrong. So even though at that moment that's what you're expecting to hear, I respected her so much more for the type of teaching that she gave me. Because a lot of times, sometimes if you go to your homegirls, your friends, or sometimes even family, they're going to give you counsel based off their view, not good counsel, but sometimes counsel based off their view, or just, go alongside you with what you want to hear because of the type of relationship that y'all have, and they feel like they're doing you a justice, but really they're not.
And can I piggyback right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like my wife was saying, excuse me, accountability partners' ultimate responsibility is to hold you accountable to say what you say you're going to do in your marriage. So for us, it stems from the foundation of us being believers or Christians. So our accountability partners had to be Christians. Can it be like somebody who was an unbeliever? Second thing was, all right, if we chosen to be accountability partners, we know that they were not judgmental, and there weren't people who would pick sides or, yeah, you're right, you should have did X, Y, Z, or you should have said. They were people who were well grounded and had a basic biblical foundation to go off of, basic beliefs that they went off of. So if they were counseling us, they would have these little check marks. Okay, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you say this? They never said, okay, like my wife was saying earlier, oh, she did what? No, they're not trying to hear that. They say, well, what did you not do? Or what did you say? Or how could you have avoided that conversation or avoided that outcome? And that helped us to hold ourselves accountable to what we say or do. Because sometimes, nobody's perfect. You may have a bad day, but that don't necessarily mean you have to go off on somebody or, go on a tantrum, So having that accountability partner or somebody you both can agree on that can give you sound counsel when you're not at your best or when you're not thinking straight, will help you think straight at the moment when you not, at your fullest potential to give your marriage your all.
So a lot of times when you're when you're in those moments when you're having I forgot what he used to call it it's not solid disagreement. I forgot what he used to call it.
Silent disagreement, or
I forgot he used to call it something. But a lot of times when you're in those moments, you're very emotional. Your blood is up, it's racing.
High blood pressure.
Yeah, high blood pressure. Everything is just your mind is clouded, so you're not even thinking straight. Just think that you're in a marriage. You started a marriage with a person you love, and you guys end up having a disagreement about something. And at that moment, your heart racing. You're upset, you're angry, and you talk to the wrong person. And they give you some advice that literally destroys your marriage. Because I don't know, I'm sure there's a lot of married couples out there that probably done divorced their spouse like 1,000 times. Like, I'm done, I'm leaving, I'm done, I'm leaving, I'm leaving. But you say it a lot of times, but in your heart, like you really don't mean it. You're really saying this off of your emotions. So just imagine you have one of those moments, and your mind, you're just saying it, but then you happen to get around a person that actually pushes you to do to do that. You go to sleep and you wake up the next day and you're like, what the world am I doing? So it's so important that you let the right people in your ear concerning your marriage. Sometimes you can have people in your ear about your marriage who may be jealous of your marriage, and may give you some counsel just because they're jealous of your marriage, and they be done ruin you. You be done let them ruin your whole marriage, and you didn't even know, because you thinking they're looking out for your best interest, but actually they have an ulterior motive.
And be careful about folks you share your marriage to who are not married, or maybe you get it so frustrated to the point where you go outside the people you've agreed to counsel your marriage, and go with another counselor, or go with somebody you feel respected or you have respect for, to get counsel from them. And that can be very damaging as well, because first of all, they don't have the go ahead from your spouse to counsel you about anything. So you're already out of bounds with that. And yes, I did do that. All right, for those of you, yes, I did do that. All right, because multiple times, because a lot of times when we had issues in our marriage and we try to call our marriage counselors, a lot of times they were not available. I believe that's God saying, okay, listen, I need you to apply what He told you last time, or you already got the tools. You use the tools you have in your toolbox to fix the situation you're at hand. But because we have so much pride or so much ego that you don't pick up the tools that God's already given you to fix the situation.
Correct. So yeah, that's absolutely right. Like Stephen said, I don't think I've being that okay. So I'm like I said, I'm an introverted person. Steve more of an extroverted person. So if he gets to that moment where he can't talk to his marriage counselor, yeah, if he have a best friend or a brother or something, yeah, he will call them, and he would let them know, what was going on at that time. And I used to be so angry, like I'm already upset because, whatever the situation is. And then for me to find out that you talk to a family member, like, that just took me like way over, like
that's gasoline, y'all.
Way over the top. So now I'm literally on fire, like 400 degrees. So, and I'm like, and I know me, I would never do that, because me being a private person, I for the most part, I feel like if we're having issues and if I couldn't get in contact with my accountability person, I dealt with it. It was hard. It was hard. You fight, you cry, you fight with yourself, you cry, you fight, you just having a pity party, but I just dealt with it. There was I have a best friend that Steven knows, that Steven knows, her and her husband, they're good people. So once we moved away from our accountability partners, I very, very rare that I called her. Maybe like 2 or 3 times I might have called her to let her know something was going on. But even though he didn't agree on her, we both know her well enough to know that she would give me sound counsel. So that was a time that I did go outside of a person that he agreed on, but he knows that she's a good person, that she would give good sound doctrine or whatever. But having people in your ear about your marriage, about your spouse, even when it comes to family, if you and your spouse are having some type of issues and disagreements, it is not wise to go to your family.
That's right.
One thing you have to realize, you and your husband are having a moment. You going to your family about a moment that you are having. Now, once you and your husband get back on terms, your family gonna still look at him as that same person, as you told them. Whatever information it is that you told them that y'all was going through at the time, it's gonna take them a little longer to get over what you told them versus it did you. So now y'all back together, happy and loving and family, and then your family's still looking at your spouse sideways because of the information that you share, especially if it was some deep information. Like, you have to realize that it takes family.
They probably would never forget.
Yeah, sometimes they probably will never forget. They'll
remember that
always
forever. Yeah.
look at you as that person because they value you because you're related. They have no connection to him. All they see is, I can't believe he did my daughter, my niece, my whoever like that.
My husband and my spouse.
My husband, my spouse. That's all they see. So, now that, you and your husband are growing and y'all doing bigger and better things, y'all moving on in life, now you're trying to get your family to support what you have going on. Now it's hard for them to do it because they're still stuck on the information that you gave them.
Yeah. So like she was saying, your spouse, whatever, husband or wife, be careful. But actually, not even be careful. Don't share information with your family about your spouse, because it never ends well with that. Even if they're Christians or not, believers or not, is irrelevant. It's just the fact that you keep your stuff between you and your spouse. That's the whole beauty of marriage, is learning each other throughout the journey of you guys being together. So you don't want to have usurpers or other people outside your marriage trying to counsel you about how you should run your house or how your wife should be, how your husband should be, because then they're putting their input or their opinions on something that may not fit where y'all going. So that's
definitely. I was gonna say pretty much what you just said. Once you open that door to start getting counsel from family about your marriage, now you open up the door for them to start giving you their opinions on everything in your marriage, in your household, with your kids, with your finances. Now they feel like, okay, well, you should have never put us in your business. Now that you open that door, just know that they're going to be giving their opinion on everything now, because now they feel entitled to, because of the information that you share with them.
And what makes people think, and now this is kind of like piggyback right what she's saying, like, marriage is a process. It's easy and it's hard, because you're going to have your ups and downs seasons in your marriage. Now, for folks who are counseling you or giving you their information, who are not married or may have been just newlyweds, they haven't had the experience or the internship to even give you any information that will last, because they have not been tested. If you say I love you unconditionally, well, guess what? Time in life will test whether or not that's actually accurate or true. So you have to remember, when you're going through a struggle or a situation in your marriage, you have to remember one thing. First of all, it's but a moment. Second of all, you have accountability partners. If they're not available, pray about it and let time heal our wounds. Just maybe just take some time away from each other a little bit and get yourself together where you're back in your right mind. Otherwise, you can cause more hurt, more pain, more affliction on the situation, and it might not be a mountain, it might be just a mole. But because you're how you say, expanding it so much, now it went from one thing to another. Now you're bringing arguments that had nothing to do with the situation before, and now you're trying to figure out how you end up from here way off the map, talk about something else that happened 10 years ago or 3 or 4 years ago that had nothing to do with you. So accountability partners keep you accountable over you. What did you do or not do to cause the situation to get any worse? Or how could you avoid the situation if your spouse is not in their right mind? Because at the end of the day, you did marry each other because you love each other, not because what's in it for me as far as being selfish. But what are you bringing to the table? Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, just like you were saying, as far as who you get your counsel for. I mean, if you're married, there's like no reason you should be getting counsel from a single person. Like, there's no reason at all. They don't have the experience. Some single people might not even know what marriage is even all about. Some you may be married and have some single friends who may be jealous that you're married and they're not married yet. So they might want their friend back. We help get you back single. I mean, you it's like you never know. And also seasoned. My husband and I, we always look for seasoned married couples, because they can it's like parents. Our kids can do something and you can look at that child and you be like, I did that when I was your age. Like, I know exactly what you got going on. I did the same exact thing when I was your age. And that's the same thing with a seasoned married couple. You can go to them and you can tell them about the problem you're experiencing and they can digest it just like that on the spot. They're 20, 30 years in. Girl, we done been down that road, been there, done that. We can tell you all about it, the book, t-shirt, and everything else. And they can literally tell you because they've been through something.
Now, that's just not just folks who are 20, 30 years in, who are happily married. Now, not those who are 20, 30 years and you're just tolerating each other.
Yeah.
We've seen that as well, and you can always tell that, But folks who actually are happily married after 20, 30 years, and it's evident how they talk to each other, how they treat each other. It's evident, and it's evident on the information they give you. Okay.
One thing you have to learn, and one thing that I'm learning in marriage is that, a lot of people say your beginning years is like your most tough years. It's like, okay, you're coming alongside with somebody, you're both different personalities, different character traits, different everything, and you're coming into one household trying to mend two totally different people together and expecting it to work out. One thing I realized that, number one, you will never totally know a person. In your marriage, you're always going to be learning your spouse. You're always going to be learning yourself. There's some things, now we're 9 years in, there's some things about myself I'm still learning. There's some things about my spouse I'm still learning. And I feel like the more you learn about yourself, the more you learn about your spouse, the more you talk, have conversations, the better your marriage will be. Like, you're going to have problems in marriage, but I don't feel like it has to be hard. Because if you understand your spouse understands you, and you guys are talking on a regular basis. And, I feel like a lot of things could be just worked out through communication. It don't have to be, always an end. Sometimes, couples are just so quick to end it. What was the issue? It was money. I heard some couples say, we just couldn't get it together. Like, what does that mean? We just couldn't get it together. Like, there's so many excuses, I feel like, couples give each other to divorce.
Like I said, now I'm going to say this, and I'm also going to ask you one more question to wrap this up. One is, now what she's saying is absolutely true, is, couples it's almost as if they find a way to divorce on something, or they gather information that actually is hindering to the marriage because of some falsified information, or you might find something beyond its comprehension. Now, I want to ask this one question though. All right. Now, how do you feel about getting advice from people who've been married 20, 30 years but are now divorced, or been married multiple times and have experienced different marriages? How you feel about getting? Now, I would say this. How I feel about it is this: you can still learn from anybody, even for those who've been divorced or have multiple marriages. However, there are certain things you really can't glean from when somebody's been married multiple times, or like I said, who's been married a long period of time and got divorced. You see what I'm saying? Because of the fact of they're no longer married. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know. But I'm saying, like, for what we've experienced together as far as in our marriage, we have learned some things from both parties. Somebody who's been married and for a long period of time and obviously out of nowhere divorced, and somebody who's been married multiple times because they've had multiple different experiences. So what are your take on that?
With that, I feel like you eat around the bone, because you have some people who've been in. We've got counsel. I mean, we have friends in Florida, Virginia. We have different people that we've came in contact with that been married, divorced, married, divorced, married, divorced, married, divorced. But sometimes people can give you wise counsel. They just don't apply it. They don't just apply it in their own stuff. So it's up to you to figure out, okay, is this, if this is good advice or if it's not good advice. You can listen if you feel like they say, eat around the bone. Take what's good for you, and the rest of it, toss it. Because you have a mind of your own. You know what's right. Even though sometimes we get counsel, something in us, you already know. There's some things that, like Stephen say, like sometimes we're having problems, and we try to call your marriage counselor, and you can't get them. Sometimes it may be God saying, hey, like, this person has gave you so much tools, and you have yet to open the toolbox. Like, use some things that you already know. You haven't even implemented the first thing that they've given you to do. So now they're not going to be available. Now it's on you to use your own power to make whatever you got going on work.
And I'll say this in closing. Check this out. Now, there's no way a marriage can grow unless, like, how you say it, two heads is like a monster. So there has to be one head and a body. And I said to say this, not to downplay a woman or a male. That ain't the point. The point is the fact that for a marriage to grow, somebody has to take a back seat. Like for our 9 years of being in marriage, right, about to go on 10, we have that. There's no way we could have gotten where we're at today had I not took a back seat or she take a back seat. Like in some situations, in some cases, I'm not the person to lead that. She has to lead. I mean, or vice versa. Or when it comes to finances, when it comes to different areas of your life, I'm not always leading everything. Sometimes I can lead by taking a back seat and she lead, or vice versa. But
yeah.
So for us coming together, because I think it says what it say. Well, how two come together to be agreed.
Yeah.
So we can't if we're traveling to get to California. There's no way we can get there if she got different instructions in mind. Like
we both on the steering wheel.
We both on the steering wheel. Like that's not gonna happen. And you got people in your ear. Go left. No, you go right. Go left. No, man, you need to go straight. Now we don't need we don't need to listen to none of y'all.
Stop the car.
Stop the car. All right, look. This is the map. We're going this direction, and this is where we're gonna go. It doesn't mean it's not more than one way to get there. That's the way we're gonna take to get there.
And it'll make you less of a person.
No less of a person.
You know your spouse is you know he knows his strengths and his weaknesses. I know my strengths and my weaknesses. I might be the person that can implement a good plan. Steve's gonna be the action person. He's the person that can go put it into action. I'm the one that can come up with great ideas. He can put it out there. Mm-hmm. So don't feel like you have to be the head honcho of everything. That's why God gave you a husband. That's why God gave you a wife. Women should not be trying to control everything, and men should not be trying to control everything. You're supposed to come alongside each other, to figure out the best plan, for your household. Ultimately, yes, the man leads the house, but they come alongside and also help make some decisions. So when it's time for him to lead and do his thing, you give him the seat. Let him do what he needs to do. When it's time for the woman to lead in a particular area, be okay with taking a back seat and letting her do what she needs to do. Everything you don't have to do, men. I feel like, there are some good men who do a lot for their family. I'm praise God, I have one in my house. They go above and beyond.
Our house.
Our house. That goes above. That goes above and beyond to do whatever is necessary to make sure that house stays afloat. So, guys, if you are one of those guys, when you get that opportunity to take the back seat or to let her, do some things or to let her, call the shots, enjoy it. Because you've been doing this, like, well, for my husband, he's been doing it, for a majority of our marriage. Most of our marriage, I didn't even work. I didn't even have to work. So those moments where I did decide to get a job, and I was able to help and do some extra things or whatever, hey, it's your time to sit back, relax, enjoy that downtime, for when it's time for you to come up again and take your spot. But ultimately, you guys are a couple, and I don't feel like there's any problem that you can't really. I don't think that there's a problem that you can't really handle together. I think when it all boils down to basic communication. And whenever it really gets to that point where you just cannot talk, then yes, you're definitely your accountability partner
steps in,
come into play and help smooth it out.
Now, with that being said, guys, leave us your comments. Let us know how you feel about it. How has it worked out for you? And if you like this video, like it.